Michael, across all of your business interests, you obviously look after a lot of people. I'm sure that's not plain sailing every day of the week. How do you manage some of those issues?
Good question. People management is the biggest challenge we would have, and I think that's not unique to me or my role or our industry. I think being very clear on what your strategic goals are for the organisations, so that when people look to work with you or are currently working with you, you've got very clear guidelines on what the purpose of their role is and what the outcomes are. Recruiting and surrounding yourself with good people and different types of people and different types of qualifications and skills, especially if you roll out to the broader Instigo where there's a team of marketing people and there's another team of 5 pharmacists doing professional programs that are more clinically trained than say I was. I think it's important if you just recruit people like you all the time, you never get over that, expand into those new challenging areas.
Not being too specific in terms of percentages, how much time do you think you would spend sitting back and reflecting on the business and where you want to take it versus actually working in it?
I probably think 30% of my time is thinking about new ideas and where the industry could be going and what we could be doing. But the same token, I've got stimulus from around me. I've got all these great people who ring with an idea, and that makes you sit back and go, I hadn't thought about that.
If we just look at the last decade that we've been through and significant change in the industry and the price reforms that happened that stripped a lot of money out of the system, how important do you think that the buying is versus the selling in today's environment?
Good question. I think buying, you've got to have a robust buying strategy and you've got to have systems and reporting that enables you to make sure that's running efficiently. We use the Pentagon, the triangle, so I don't know whether you're familiar with that, with the Pentagon being everything that the patient touches and sees and feels in the store environment and all that, and the triangle being everything that drives that, which is the unknown, which is the suppliers, the systems and the logistics. We can't be experts in both. We focus on the patient, the Pentagon, but you've got to make sure, in this case, the triangle, so strong wholesaler relationship, strong generic partnership, strong generic OTC partnership, and then a robust system by which all your deals and all your margins can be tracked and managed, so you can pick the outliers up and manage accordingly.
Michael, what sort of personal sacrifices have you experienced in your career?
I think, as much as I advocate work-life balance, in those early days was out of control, and I remember when we fitted out our first store, when we combined my dad's store and my store. My daughter's like 4, I think, and I'd hardly seen her. And and you look back now and go, what seemed really important at the time, getting this fit out and managing these 2 stores. But at home, my wife had 4 young kids running around, and the eldest was, wondering where Dad was when he's at work. And really living in a country town where you're working 9 to 5:30 and only 3 hours on a Saturday. I should have been around a lot, but I had other things that I felt more important.
Over the years, over that journey, has your vision for the group of both pharmacy ownership and management company Instigo Catalyst Group, has your vision changed at all?
I would say it's changed dramatically. I mean, in the early days, it was probably about just staying afloat, to be honest with you. And I don't think if we went back, we laughed at, we finally got a vision, and it had only taken us 15 years to write. And that was because every time we have a meeting, we need a vision, and vision, mission, values was all the go. And we came up with these statements that they weren't derived from the right purpose. So I think that back in those days it was just trying to keep ourselves afloat and deal with all the changes in the industry, and we probably saw strategy and vision as being just tactics, refit a store. And then probably in about 2013 we sat back and we saw the effects of all the PBS reductions, and we started to look at the increased requirements of banks to loan money, and we saw our business became more complex, I would say, and there was a lot more risk involved. And we sat down and part of the things we discussed was, how do we become successful and resilient from a financial perspective? How do we become resilient from a pharmacist professional perspective by recruiting young pharmacists and interns, making sure we've got a pipeline of pharmacists to be able to deliver the professional services. We wanted to put community back into community pharmacy.
Michael, it's been fascinating talking to you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Norman. It's always good to chat pharmacy, as I said. Thank you.